The first one I'm excited about, reimagining retail, how brands achieve scalable, personalized customer experiences. So we've got Brian, who's the head of demand at Kustomer. We've got Jess Cervellon, who's advocacy at Kustomer, as well as Melanie Cummings, who's the VP of product and UX at Fabletics. So come on up.
I'm Brian with Kustomer, leading demand gen, growth, and CX insights. Kustomer is a customer support platform powering customer support for brands like Abercrombie & Fitch, Turo.com, the car rental service, and brands like Feastable too. And first, let's kind of get to know you a little bit. Mel, do you mind giving us a little bit about your experience?
Yeah, I'm Melanie Cummings. I'm the VP of Product and UX at Fabletics. Been there for about 8.5 years now.
And I am Jess Cervellon and have a long list of who I am, but I do growth and advocacy for Kustomer. I'm also the founder of Open Lake Collective, the host of the Juice podcast, and previously my experience, I was the VP of customer experience for Feastables by Mr. Beast. I started that brand and brought up the customer experience department.
Yeah. So we have different opinions here, and that's what I'm more excited about. Mr. Beast brands, Fabletics, and if you were downstairs yesterday, I was, and there's a lot of same opinions out there. It's AI first, omni-channel, data-centric. I mean, the list goes on and on, but everyone was saying, in my opinion, the same things. And so what I wanted to just change things up here, just to make it a little more interesting for you all, is like, let's take two sides of it. So I want to bring up a subject. And we talked a little bit about the subjects, but no one knows what we're going to say, really. But I'm going to throw something out there, and I'd love one of you to take one side of the argument and one of you to take the other side. And we just think that there is no right or wrong answer for this. It's really just about personal experiences. All right, so AI versus human customer support. So this is obviously the buzzword. So let me get this statement out there first. The future is going to be AI first, AI powered, AI everything over any sort of human experience. So who wants to take one side of that first?
You want to get started?
Yeah, I do.
Great.
I think AI can do a lot of good things, for sure. When I was running the department at Feastables, we were getting inquiries of 20,000 to 40,000 inquiries a week. Those fans for Mr. Beast are insane individuals. So they love to chatter, they love to talk. So I actually utilized AI and installed it into our customer experience before the chat GPT. So this is more intent-based, so it's not generative. But I found that utilizing AI actually helped us deflect about 80% of those tickets. So then we were able to let those people have engagement and fun, and also we sold via our chatbot. The chatbot and utilizing this AI intent-based helped us actually get about 600,000 in launch revenue. So I think from a conversion standpoint, an engagement standpoint, it actually was really helpful for us at Feastables. And then what it then allowed was deflecting all those tickets, so then you can still have that human experience on the other end of it. Yeah. What's your thoughts?
I mean, the AI angle is great, and there's a ton that we can do with AI, but I do think there's still a need for human customer support and human intervention. There's a couple of reasons for it, right? First, everybody has had that moment where they're frustrated, they've had a bad experience, and they just want to talk to someone, and you just need a human, right? And I think if a brand loses that personal connection with the customer, and there isn't somebody on the other end of that line that they can talk to, it can really devalue the brand. And there's still a need to have a person that can then be the source of contact. I also think if you don't have, kind of that human element, you lose the ability to really sometimes understand the actual core customer problem. Mm-hmm. We find that a lot at Fabletics. We have a really great relationship with our GMS team, which is our global member services team. Mm-hmm. And they talk to our members, they understand their pain points, and they actually reach out and tell us a lot about problems that might be happening on the website or the mobile app, or even within the retail stores or with the product, because they're having that one-on-one dialogue. And I think that element is just such an amplifier for your brand if you really, have somebody in your customer service team who can talk to a customer and give that feedback back to the brand, there's so much more you can learn.
I agree with you. Sorry, this is exactly what you wanted.
Yeah.
You wanted us to debate.
Let's do it.
I do agree with you. I think that AI can help you deflect a lot of tickets and you still allows you to get to that human experience, but it allows you to keep headcount costs low. That's what, like, as a CX leader, like, that's what I'm looking to do is keep my headcount costs lower and empower my team to be able to do the more retention tactics, do the more personalized side of it.
Right.
I think that you can't just turn this. It's not really a debate. Like what you're basically describing is like absolutely true,
Right.
and like on my end, it's absolutely true as well. But you can't just turn on AI and think like, okay, cool, see you later.
Yeah.
You still have to go through a QA process. You still have to make sure it's saying the correct things to the customer. But not only that, you can utilize AI from an analytics standpoint too.
For sure.
I just haven't seen many advancements with that yet.
Yeah, for sure. And I think it's sometimes hard, like AI is such a buzzword, like you said at the jump, and we all just think it's like gonna solve all of our problems.
Right.
And I think AI is only gonna be as good as the team and the strategy that's managing it to amplify the program and the policies around it. Because if you don't have a strategy to like kind of support your customers, AI isn't just gonna make that up for you, right?
Right.
Like you have to put the inputs in there.
Right, one more thing, so
Yeah,
sorry.
this is
So
the
sorry.
debate.
The other thing that I want to say is that so at Open Lake Collective, like we are a CX and marketing agency, so I help a lot of CX teams with enablement, tech implementations, like various things. And I've actually have done a lot of AI implementations for like some of your beloved brands. And what I've always found, and I'm not going to name names in the software because it's not customer, what I've found with like the AI tools that are on the market right now is those like it's really sold that you can just turn it on.
Right.
But like what happens is then they come to people like me and they need help with those tech implementations because they can't even get off. They can only get v.5.
Right.
They can't even get to v1.
Right. I mean, to take a
Sorry.
no, that was great. I agree. And to take it like a step further, just as a technologist, like that's true with any tool that you
Right.
buy. I think it's so easy to get hyped about something, to see that there's a quick onboarding. You can do all the things, but if you don't have like a strategy and a plan on how to actually amplify that tool and people to manage and optimize it, it's
Absolutely.
never going to be successful.
Amen, sister.
There you go.
Next.
Well, hold on. Can I mention one thing that you
Brian, I
didn't talk
forgot you were
about?
here.
I think there is this like, what's the consumer expectation at the end of the day?
Yeah.
That's super interesting. And I just bring this up because it was a couple days ago, I got a direct mail piece, I'll name names, from Blue Dot. It's a furniture company. I think it's based in Minneapolis. And on the last page, beautiful furniture, on the last page it said, customer support, we employ real humans. Call us.
Real
and
humans?
it just like takes you back. Like I think still the expectation today is like, ugh, I don't want to talk to an AI back.
Yeah.
And again, it depends probably on their brand, experience,
Right.
Fabletics, but I think you still have to wait for the consumers to change a bit.
Oh, for sure.
Absolutely. 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 And like the one point I want to make, like just as we're discussing this, is like I'm describing a use case with Feastables, right? And I said like this audience is like
A Mr. Beast brand.
a Mr. Beast brand, and so like the audience for Mr. Beast is, I mean, it's like teenagers, it's like young 20s, it's people who want to chatter, right? So it made sense for me to implement AI because it's delivering a brand experience. But where like a product like Fabletics or any of these other products that that are on the market, like health and wellness, whatever it is, like those require such a personalized experience. Like you have to be very smart about where and how you're implementing AI.
For sure, and I think you have to understand where your customer's at,
Yeah.
and even like within one company, you might not have all customers at the same place.
Right.
So how do you make sure you have opportunities for the younger customer who might be more into it, and then also have potentially a human for somebody who's a little bit older and just wants to chat live.
I know.
Yeah, you have
I want
something
to say
else.
one more thing. I'm so sorry.
Oh, yeah.
This is like debate style, so like you're gonna like we're on the podcast right now.
Yeah, we're vibing.
The last thing I will say is like just proving your point, right, about AI. I actually had a support ticket come through for like one of my health and wellness clients, and the person was like talking to AI. The customer was talking to AI. All's well, right? And then the AI started like having a hallucination and repeating itself, and then the customer was like, "If you're not AI." say this, and then it repeated, and it, like,
Oh, no.
and then it created a bad experience.
I actually think that's a great point, though. You have to be transparent with the customer
Yes.
about what they're getting
Yes.
into. I don't believe in kind of selling a false promise of like, you have a human.
Even how good the AI will get,
right.
you still should.
I think, I think for now you should, I am a huge believer in transparency, like for your brand.
Yeah.
And you have to be honest about what they're getting into. And because people are smart, they're going to figure it out.
Yeah.
And instantly you've lost credibility. And that, like, you can't get that back,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, we're going to go on to another subject.
Yeah, sorry.
That was good. I hope it was good. Okay, so I think this is really interesting. This is data-driven personalization versus intuitive customer service. So here's the statement that I have. So personalized customer experiences are worth the potential privacy risks. So let me dig into that a little bit more, right? If you really want to personalize something, obviously you need all the data to personalize it. And most of that time, that customer data is in a whole bunch of different platforms. You got to bring it together. You're switching from one platform to another platform, another platform. So is personalized a customer experience, it's worth it for that privacy risk.
Yeah.
Who wants to take one side or the other one?
No, you go first.
Yes, but no. It's probably because I've worked with children.
Yeah.
Okay, the Mr. Beast brand again.
Yeah.
I think that yes, personalizing in marketing strategies, absolutely. I think in customer experience, but where the gray area becomes, don't want to name names, but there are tools out there that track your pixels. Right? And there's tools out there that track your pixels so that it's like, if I'm a customer and I'm coming to the website and I'm just browsing, but I haven't entered the list, I haven't reached out to customer support, then there's tools that will like track your pixels and then send an email saying like, hey, you were just looking at this. And you can see this in B2B too. It's not even just in brands. You're looking at like maybe a tech tool, right? And all of a sudden you like a BDR is reaching out, right? And so like my point is though, is I think that like personalization and like privacy should be another thing that's well thought out. Yes. Like it can feel really, from a marketing standpoint and an experience standpoint, it can feel really intrusive to an individual if you're like, if they haven't even signed up for your list and you're sending them like, you're looking at this product. That's really, like, it's intrusive. Yeah. And not only that, I have experienced it across several different brands that have gotten support tickets of like, how do you have my information? Take me off your list. And then the customer experience agent goes and then is like looking at the SMS list and the email list and they're like, oh wait, it's not even on here. Yeah. So then they can't even explain it.
Right.
You know? So that's a bad experience.
It's a hugely bad experience. I also think like, you know, we're a proprietary-based platform. We build all of our own technology and we really, like, we're very passionate about privacy, especially as a membership-based brand. Like, you have to deliver on that element of like, we know you're in the family and we don't want to like let your stuff out. I think it's so interesting though. We actually were at a roundtable yesterday and just having a conversation about like Instagram now, even when you're talking out loud and then you get served ads based on what you're saying. Like, I think that's a little creepy still. Like, I know it's happening, I'm aware of it, I acknowledge it, but I think a lot of people are still uncomfortable. Like, you're tracked everywhere, you're tracked all the time, we know that, but then when you're really directly served it in a way that like you had no active intent on, I think it gives you kind of bad vibes on the brand.
Right.
And it's very challenging to balance that in today's world.
Mel, can I ask,
Yeah.
Mel, so Fabletics, from what I understand in our conversation before, you've built a lot of your own technology at Fabletics.
Most of it, yeah.
Most of it. And was privacy, security a thing that's almost why you built it yourself?
Yeah, I mean, privacy is so important, and I think the ability for us to like really holistically understand the customer journey, and to your point earlier, not necessarily have quite as many tools and like disparate elements of data, and the risk of breach and all of those things. Like we've taken it very, very intentionally to ensure that we create a safe kind of ecosystem for our customer and to build credibility for the membership so that they know, like, you actually gave us all this info, it was very intentional, and we're going to be protective of it.
Right.
And I want to just make one point too, because I do kind of come from the cloth of like building your own tech. Manscaped is another brand that built its own subscription like software platform, and I worked with the CTO at Feastables. So I come from this cloth, right? And I don't think that everybody necessarily has the resources to go out and build the tools.
For sure.
So I think what's really important and like very tactical advice, if you're concerned about privacy and you want to build like a better customer experience for your customer to make them feel like safe, that they can share their information with you, I urge you, when you are in negotiations with any Shopify app, any application that you're going to introduce into your brand's ecosystem, that you are reviewing their privacy policy and debating over it.
For sure. And I think there's a little bit of a internal debate to have if a vendor comes to you and suggests changes to your privacy policy. You really need to understand why and make sure your internal team and potentially even your customer service team can explain that to a customer so everybody's transparent about what's happening.
Yeah. The last thing, I think like personalization is really important from like a service standpoint, but you have to think holistically about the entire customer experience. So what you were saying, Instagram ads, right? If I'm going to do paid ads, like what is that experience I'm going to be delivering? What's the experience I'm going to be delivering across SMS, email, like all of these other places, and ensuring that you're keeping the customer at the forefront of that. Because otherwise, like you're hurting the experience.
I mean, and we talked a little bit about this on the pod, but like really understanding that customer experience end to end, like it's before they enter your website or mobile app, and it's after. How does that all come together, and how does the customer perceive the brand?
Yeah.
I'm gonna move on.
Oh,
this is good.
Sorry, Brian.
No, with this bright light, sometimes I just feel like I'm just talking to you, and I didn't realize that. This is good. I feel like we are on a podcast. All right, so next topic, data-driven personalization versus intuitive customer service. So here's the statement. Relying solely on data for personalization can sometimes overlook the intuitive understanding of customer needs. So you're either only looking at the data, or there is still insights that you can learn from your team members that's outside of that spreadsheet that you're looking at.
Absolutely.
I mean, I kind of took this one earlier accidentally.
I know.
I am sorry.
I mean, we're going to be on the same side of this.
We are.
What?
Yeah. We are, but we're
Can
not.
you put?
Yeah, we are. Like, so. I mean, I will say I think you need some level of intuitive customer service. I think it's very hard to build a system where you're only looking at the data. I think it's very easy to miss opportunities and especially subtleties from a customer, right? Like you might, for example, we've had situations where a customer reaches out, they've had an issue with their return, and the real issue isn't the fact that they didn't get their return label. The issue is that they didn't follow through on the process, right? We would never have known that without actually having a discussion with the customer, and we found there was an opportunity to improve the flow on the website at the time. And I think those are things that are really tangible that can have a huge benefit to the brand. I think maybe there's a point where data continues to evolve and like you can get there, but I'm still a big fan of like having humans to talk to other humans and pull it all together.
Yeah, I mean, I think we're going to be on the same side of this. I'm going to be honest with you, because I also think that it comes with not just thinking that your customer support team, your service team, experience team isn't just there to be support.
Right.
That you have to start thinking about like your customer experience team as service, yes, but also a retention tactic.
Right.
And so what I mean by that is that, we still need data, but if you create all of these process and procedures, and I've run into this with agents before where it's like, they're so into the process and the procedure that they completely miss trying to save the subscription.
Right. They're not, they forget they're there for the customer at the end of the day.
Right. And so like, I think it's like, you have to have that balance between like data-driven, like building a feedback loop, but also the balance between being an intuitive like customer support agent or even your customer like experience overall. And you really got to think through putting retention tactics at the forefront of your service.
Right.
So just to drill that back and like just one tactical advice, right? So if you're a subscription brand, because I like ran into this, if you're a subscription brand, you should be training your agents, yes, to gather the information, but to like, how do they have a conversation to save that subscription overall, rather than just being like, okay, cool, I'm going to return it and done, canceled, see you later, right?
And I think it even goes beyond that. Like for something we found is there's a lot of times that you can have the opportunity to surprise and delight a customer. So maybe it's not even they called about something super negative. Maybe they're not upset, but maybe it's a customer who's just passionate about the brand. We've had moments, this was years ago and I don't remember all of the details, but there's a customer who was a huge fan of Fabletics, loved the brand, and she wanted us to be like a part of her wedding day. And we like heard about that, an associate like raised it up, we got really excited. And I think our design team like sent her like a dress and like some product to like wear while she was getting ready. And it was like so heartwarming, but like I don't know how data-driven only would have surfaced that, and we could have made that experience that amazing for her.
Well, I actually want to add one experience from Feastables, which turned into like a really crazy thing, right? Similar, very similar, is like surprise and delight. But we had, so at Feastables, there was a lot of like giveaways, sweepstakes, and we had a rock, paper, scissors game going on at the time. And so a teacher from like Utah, like it's like small town outside of Salt Lake City. I don't know, I'm not looking at you. You wouldn't know. None of us would know. Okay, but anyway, small town in Utah, right outside of Salt Lake City. He writes in and he's like, hey, Feastables, I just want to tell you, like, thank you so much for creating this experience, all these things. I've been teaching my kids about doing like a math problem with it, like all this stuff, like it's really heartfelt like message, right? So because my team was so more focused on the experience and more focused on building community and not just taking the ticket and tagging it and bagging it and seeing it later, right? That letter came across my desk, and I happened to be going to Salt Lake City to deliver a Tesla for one of the winners. That's a whole other story. And I ended up, so because this came across my desk, we ended up actually hand delivering the school $10,000 in cash, because that was like a very Mr. Beast thing to do. But we had this really amazing experience, went to the school, taught the school about like all sorts of other things, like about chocolate, and it was, but had I never gotten that across my desk, we would have never had that moment. So that's these are two examples from like a very big brand to like a brand that was coming up and very community based, that you can still surprise and delight your customer.
100%.
There's one more story, because you both talked about this on the podcast. It's the one that there was I think it was a pair of pants at Fabletics, and there was one size that didn't sell. Do you remember that?
Yes,
so I feel like it started with data to see that, and then you had to go ask actually the questions of why this wasn't selling, right? What was it? Is that how you found out?
Yeah, so we have a feature in our stores where as you go in and out of the fitting room, we can track the product that's going in and out, which is lovely, and it gives you a huge amount of data. And we found that for our best-selling style, it sold great sizes medium and above, but the smaller sizes weren't selling as well. So we actually had to like go talk to customers, do fit testing, and we figured out that it was just a tapering issue with the leg, like it didn't come in tight enough on the smaller sizes. But that was it was a good blend of both, right? You needed the data to kind of initially find the problem, but you then needed to talk to people to understand what the real root of the issue was that wasn't driving the conversions.
Okay. There's like 7 minutes left. Do you want to go membership?
Yeah.
Okay, let's do that one. Let's go here. Subscription model success alternative. So the alternative will be membership. So the statement that we have here is the subscription model is the key to sustainable customer loyalty. If you want to go on one side of that, or
you're the membership queen.
Well, thank you. I'll take the membership one. So I think subscription models are fantastic, but at Fabletics, we have what we call a membership program, which is slightly different. It's really more, it gives you a lot more optionality, and it provides more value than just the transactional subscription that you typically get from a lot of the big box people out there. And I find that the membership program is actually much more valuable because it builds loyalty as a subscription program does, but it gives the customer so much more flexibility and value beyond just like a thing that they bought, right? So with our membership program, you get a fit app with it, you get there's a whole community, you get loyalty program, you get free product, like there's so much more that kind of goes into that experience. And I think there's so much opportunity for brands out there to kind of rethink about how they're approaching the customer and building that connection and not making it quite so transactional as what I find is sometimes happens in a traditional subscription.
Yeah. I mean, I agree with you. I agree with you that like a traditional subscription model can be very transactional, and I think that what's really interesting is there's so many subscription tools out on the market, and they all do a little bit of this and a little bit of that, but where I've seen a subscription model really being successful is actually incorporating a little of this like membership bit, but it's really loyalty and rewards. And so that's the most tactical advice in it. Like, don't just look at your subscription of like, okay, cool, like you're ordering their product and see you soon, because most subscriptions, the customers churn out at about 90 days.
Right.
And at about 90 days, and then also when they're reminded that they have their subscription, they will churn out, right? And so, but my point is, so I think if you just go with like a basic subscription model, you're just like building a subscription just to build it and like not doing any surprise and delight, no A/B testing, like maybe add loyalty. Loyalty is like where I've seen a lot more success. I mean, it doesn't have to be as in depth as Fabletics and the tiers, but like reward your customers to like for having that subscription, and they're more likely to not churn out because they're going to be excited about earning something. It's the psychology of like I'm earning something with every dollar that I'm spending.
For sure. I think there's an interesting element in there though, is loyalty programs can be kind of hard because you have to figure out what actually is going to matter for your customer. I see this happen a lot where like you kind of like do the like bread and butter basic stuff, which is absolutely fine. But if you are putting together a program that doesn't actually like excite your customer, then you really aren't delivering on a whole lot of value. So again, I think you have to really listen to the customer, build that connection, and then make sure whatever loyalty and reward elements that you're doing are something that they're actually going to appreciate. Because it's just, not valuable if you don't.
Yeah, and I think it's also looking at loyalty as building community
For
too,
sure.
right? So like one of my clients, they're called Taste Salud. It's a hydration packet. But the flavors are all based off of agua frescas, so it's like a very Latin brand, right? And so what they're building with their loyalty program is not just, okay, cool, you're in tier 1, tier 2, tier 3. They're like building the names of those tiers in Spanish. Like there's like Fiesta, the after party, like all this stuff, right? But it's such a branded experience is my point. And then the things that you're earning isn't just like more free drinks. It's like you're earning like access to that brand too. Like they're doing exclusive invites to like some of their events that they do because they do a lot of field marketing. And that's like building community though is my point. So it's like, it's not just about like, okay, here's your free birthday gift or your $10 off. It's like, think about how you can build out these tiers and what like the rewards being something that's actually like tangible for the customer to want them to be loyal.
Right, and I think that's how you can actually take like a subscription or membership program to the next level, and you make it not just about retention and like the ROI metrics, but you make the brand, right? Like that's how you build the affinity, you build the connection to the customer.
Can you talk a little bit just about that membership experience? Like, when do you introduce that membership experience at Fabletics?
Oh, that's such a good question. We introduce it pretty early in the process. We're very transparent with customers, like when they come to the site, that you would be opting in for a program. I actually think, though, one of the most delightful ways that we do the membership is actually in our retail stores. When we have our associates speak to the membership and really explain it to a customer in a one-on-one setting, it's built such a great connection. It's an easier program to just kind of talk through, but I think what it really does is it gives just so much more kind of credibility, and it creates much more tangibility around the program. So one of my favorite things is like to work the store and talk to a customer and just like explain it. And you actually realize you get so much value from it that's sometimes hard to translate online. And that's always what our goal is to do, and we do okay with that. But
And then on the subscription side, do you see like you're introducing the subscription right away as well too?
Yeah, at check on the PDPs, because usually you can subscribe and save. So you get like some sort of percentage off to like sign up for the subscription. But so it's that interaction initially, the psychology of the consumer is they're going to probably do the subscription piece of it, but they don't have like a trial and error test. If like, what if they don't like the flavor? Or what if they don't like this? What if they don't like that? So then there's like, you have to utilize data to like understand why they're churning out. So then you can like rebuild the subscription program for success. I'm like speeding through what I want to say. Like there's so many things. But the last thing I do want to say, just so like on your point about omni-channel though, I just recently signed up for Abercrombie and Fitch's loyalty program. I already got like $20 from that.
No way.
And that was my my first time back in the store after many years, my friends. Okay. But my point is though, is like I was like, because I've already tried the product, I'm going into the store now. Like I'm more likely to go and like sign up for that loyalty program, but I never signed up for it online. which
Yeah.
is a weird psychology.
Yeah, I think that's where you have to like understand different customers are going to want to opt in differently,
Yeah.
and meeting them where they are is where you're going to get the best success.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I find it fascinating because it was all
should've
like
started here.
subscription.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like just a few years ago.
Yeah.
It really is.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much, Mel, Jess. Thank them for their time here. You're giving us a lot of good insights. I hope you all like that format just because I wanted to create some different type of opinions out there rather than the same again and again and again. So again, thank you for your time. And that's it. Sorry. Got
If
one
you
more
do
thing.
want to hear any more of
Yeah.
Mel and I's debates, we actually just released an episode on the podcast The Juice with Jess. And Mel's episode just launched a few hours ago. So if you're interested, you can go to juice.customer.com and there will be
It's a
links
good
to all of the
continuation of the
platforms.
conversation.
For sure.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.